Hello, beautiful and lovely gamers. My name is Jonal, and today we are coming with an updated and really good and much better Hanzo aim and practice guide. I made one like way early in my YouTube career. It has about like 6,000 views or something. And in general, I wanted an updated version because it was requested from people that I private coach. I private coached a couple of Hanzo players that had very hard aim issues and really need to improve fast. And this is the better version and the best version, I believe, to improve fast. There is split into two guides. There is the basic guides where you should know and you should watch and make 100% sure you got this comfortably and nicely down. And then there's more advanced stuff, which is the harder one. And as soon as you got the basic down, this more advanced setup with stages of like certain parts of the map, it's good for certain amount of practices, will probably help you specify better practices and help you improve way faster than just spamming quick play with Hanzo. So with no further ado, we're just gonna jump right into this. Now we're going to practice trains as the first one, and the first thing you want to make sure that you are 100% comfortable on, guys, is quick scoping or quick shooting, I suppose. In general, you want to be able to not have to drag the bow to full power and land a headshot. This is only, of course, against 200 HP targets, but that's normally what you will be hitting a lot of the time, and that little drop damage off isn't that important. Now, because a lot of people, they drag it 100%, all the way up to 100%, and then they kind of hold it and then shoot. So they drag, hold, shoot, drag, hold, shoot. And you don't want that. What you want is to get it up and get it quite into that where you deal around 200 and maybe up to 220, 230 damage with the arrow, and then you release it. This makes it much more faster, it makes it much more fluent, and it's also because it's easier to aim this way. If you can, by instinct, not have to charge it longer than necessary, you can a lot of time get way more comfortable with landing kills, especially in CQB, where you a lot of time don't have time to charge it 100%, hold it, and then shoot. This is just way more fluent. It's something that everyone should know. Second of all is body shot, kill securing shots and combos. So essentially you draw it back your bow to 100%, you hold it, and you fire into the body of the bot standing still here. And then you do a follow-up shot, which as little charge as you can to make sure that the second arrow kills. It's of course good if you land a body shot and then you didn't kill him, and then you have to do a second arrow to really, just kill secure for you without having to charge, you don't need, if you do 125 to the body, I should say that, right? You don't need another 125 to kill him. You just need a good, 100 or something in that ballpark, a good 90 to just get that last kill and get the kill secure. And that's what you want. You don't want to have to overfire. Again, because of aim reason and faster reason, and of course also it helps your team. If you see someone is low, then you can just quickly just land a not so charged arrow, which goes much faster and it's much easier for you as aim because you can decide when to shoot. You don't have to wait until like a time limit on the charge and then you can shoot because the timer is finally charged to max. So it's just easier for you, and you want to make sure, of course, that this is something that you do. Now and then, when you're comfortable with these and these standing still bots, then you go and train this. And you want to go down, to the moving bots, jump around. You want to land headshots. You want, if you don't kill secure, that's fine. Then you just kill secure with a second arrow. So if you charge up a almost full arrow, you hit him and he's down with 10 HP, then you just need a very quick arrow or a melee or something that ballpark to kill secure for you. Also wall climbing up on these pillars and jumping around, then shooting people, peek shotting, in general keeping both a good distance so you can shoot a little bit of medium range, learn to peek a couple of these doors, maybe with a vision, and also being way up close to the bots so that you learn to really do this flex in CQB. All of that is very good. And then there are a bot standing still. When you come down, he's standing still this far range. A lot of people use him to measure distance with shots. But in general, he's standing 100% still. So when you're jumping around with all these moving bots, you can normally just jump and then do an arrow towards him. And normally that's an easy headshot. If you miss, then that's good. It's fine. You just know that you're missing and then you need to improve that. So that's what I wanted to do. Don't practice scatter here. Scatter arrow is not that efficient here. This is just so you're comfortable with your aiming, your aim style, kill securing, these quick shots, just having it a little bit more in a dynamic version, because it's very easy to do on something that stands still where you have time to think. But when you have to move around and constantly hit stuff and they're moving and there's all kind of stuff going in the way and you need to wall climb, it becomes way more quote-unquote realistic. Now we're coming over to the advanced or like the harder version of it. Again, if you're not comfortable with the previous things I said, if you can't do those efficiently, don't go here because it will stagnate your practice. It will actually make it harder for you to improve if you're not comfortable in the practice range. Now the custom game setup is actually fairly easy. It's very standard aim practice setup. You turn on skirmish, and then you want to turn of course off every other game mode, so you get that skirmish mode that gives you half an hour with infinite kills, and it's just better than having to play an objective. It also makes the bots run not to an objective and just standing on an objective. So that's the first thing you want to do. Then you want to go into the game mode tab. You want to disable all the health packs, because if you don't, then the Ana bots will start running towards the health packs and stack on the health packs, and that's not what you want. You want, of course, them to constantly move around, not looking for healing, but just being in the street and just dodge you all the time, so you're not running into small health packs room where they are standing 100% still, because it's just less efficient. You want to disable all the maps, and then you want to turn on King's Row, because we're going to use King's Row since it's so nice when it comes to stages. And then you want to go on to, the heroes. You want to go on Hanzo, and that's the one way of practicing. You want to turn off, the cooldowns for Scatter and Vision Arrow. This is just practice. If you have problem keeping track of your cooldowns, then don't turn off the cooldowns. But I personally tell you, just turn them all off, and then it's faster to practice, right? So you can just spam something if need be. Then you want to go onto Ana. You want to turn off her nades, her sleep darts, her nano boost, her primary fire, her quick melee, all of that, so she can't do any damage. If you really want to only practice headshot, you can turn on, only receive headshot damage. Personally, I don't think that's good, because then you can't learn to land those follow-up shots to the body. So I will say don't do that, but that's really up to you. And of course, when you're actually gonna practice this yourself, you move yourself to attack, and you make sure that there are 6 hard Ana bots on team 1. Now we split this map up into 4 stages. Now stage 1 is more for open fights, and it's really good for high ground. You just take the statue, and this is, it's quite open. They're kind of like these houses they can come from, and they're kind of just gonna a lot of time flee into this marketplace, which makes this open, not very linear, where you can get a lot of angles. You can take a lot of high grounds and play around there. Especially good for high ground practice. I normally practice my high ground there, and then I practice these more medium, open areas, so it's not always them facing me. Sometimes I'm shooting them from the side, and that's what this first stage here is to practice, just overall standard combat. And of course, when you play King's Row, you will probably get way good at, especially at first stage, since you will spend some time here. Now stage 2 is way more linear. It's for linear spamming, and to land some of these more tricky shots, right? There's the house, there is the high ground on top of the house, there are these alleyway that they can come from, and this is just to learn you to land these more tricky shots, these shots where you kind of like, there's huge distance a lot of time between us. I need to still land the headshot, I still need to land the body shot, manage to get a scatter in the house, which really, it's not easy to land these feet scatters. You need to kind of scatter off a wall to do as much damage as you can. That's what this is for. Longer ranged and scatter, and just like having these more tricky situation, and also spam situation, where you can learn to maximize your spam damage, so you land these headshots all the time, instead of spamming and landing weak body shots constantly. So learning those one shot combos in the spam is very, very important for Hanzo. Stage 3 is something that I practice so much in a very long period of time, and that is essentially you want to mark the corner, and then you want to learn to kill people that is just running around the corner, to land these corner shots. And that is very important, because that's what you often do with Vision. You mark a house, you wait until someone flank the house, and then you land an instant headshot. They do not expect that, and it's a very easy way to get a nice peek. You can do this of course with scatter or just headshots, and it's timing based. And since it's so close to their spawn room now, they will start to feed really fast. So it's also a great way to learn to control and really be under a lot of pressure. That, okay, I need to hit that one, and then that one, and then that one, and that one. So it's also really, really good to land all these headshots and deal with a lot of targets running around the corner. This is why we have infinite vision and infinite scatter arrow, because you can do that. Of course, you can also learn a little bit to wallbang, and that's what this stage is for. And then the last stage, which here is stage 4. You want to learn just linear front-on-front aiming. They're coming really fast. You can go a little bit closer, learn to scatter, and also, spawn camp these doorways-ish. But very, very linear. They're coming at you in just a straight line. They're coming at you in these kind of strafing-ish patterns. running towards you all the time, all the time, all the time. You need to land a lot of headshot, get this linear aim down, and that is really all of the difference. Now you want to, of course, adapt your practice after what you need. Do you need to land more corner shot? Just go immediately to stage 3. Do you need to learn to keep track of your cooldown? Then put the cooldowns on standard, just a standard, cooldown management 100%, and then you will learn, okay, I don't have scatter yet, I don't have vision yet, I'll have to hold those, and now, okay, now they're back, now I can use them, so you don't just learn to spam them. But normally I like to just have everything off cooldown. I also know the cooldowns myself in my head, but especially since, having the option that, you can, okay, I land a lot of headshots, I land a good amount of body shots, now I can practice a lot of scatter. Okay, now I want more vision, so I'll mark a lot of stuff and learn to pick corners, and learn to pick corners with my scatter arrow, right? You can adapt your playstyle after what you want. Personally, I just used to run through each stage. I would get a certain amount of kills in stage 1 and be like, okay, now I'm very comfortable in stage 1. Okay, then stage 1 is complete. I move up to stage 2. Play on stage 2. I'm very comfortable now on stage 2. I think that I'm slaying it here. I don't think I need to practice right now here. Okay, cool. Now I've gotten like 40-50 kills. Okay, then I can move up to stage 3, and then I do the same on stage 3, and the same on stage 4, and when on stage 4, I'll either just hold stage 4 until I hit the mark that I set for that day, normally 100 kills, sometimes 200, sometimes even more than that, at least just with Hanzo, or I'll just, backtrack from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and then end on stage 1, and then I'm good for the day, right? So that's normally how I like to do it. And then you just mix in, scatters when you want to, headshots when you want to, body shot combos when you want to. In general, tell yourself, I'm going to land this, I'm going to do this, and then see if you actually can follow through on, I want headshot here, I want body shot here, I want scatter here. Okay, now I just want headshots, I just want one taps. Okay, now I want to learn more body shot follow-up, so I want to do that, right? And that way you kind of can really customize your practice and really get optimized practice compared to, I'll just play quick play and practice my Hanzo aim, because that isn't really as efficient as 200 Anabots kills or 100 Anabot kills. It really helps you a lot, and I hope you guys like this. If there for some reason there's any heroes that you guys want me to make an aim guide for, then you can drop those down in the comments. I hope you liked this video. If you didn't like, please like if you didn't, and drop down in the comments if you have any questions, any requests, or anything you don't understand. I'll try to respond to it or take a note about the criticism. And as always, guys, subscribe if you would like what I do in this channel. Try to help you guys out, try to make a good community. Watch me go live on Twitch. We have a live stream tomorrow, which is Wednesday, 8 p.m. Norwegian time. I hope I see you guys there. As always, guys, my name has been Jonal. Stay positive and keep the enemy in your crosshair.